the 80s, there are tons of dumb action movies, so it makes sense that there'd be a Marvel one. The best character for that is the Punisher. Since the character's first appearance in Amazing Spider-Man number 129, the character's been a very popular character for being not very heroic, to be honest. The character's main motive is just to kill people, well, specifically criminals. He's the edgelord of the Marvel Universe, and we love him for that. And honestly, if all the characters translate over to film, he seems like the easiest one to do. So, yeah, it makes sense they would do a Punisher film. Though this film has a lot more dumb action than any storyline going on. So, yeah, let's get into the character and the story. There's not a whole lot to talk about there. Here he is played by Rocky 4-star Dolph Lundgren, who does an okay job with the look. The voice is just there, that is not great. He does give some good, silent performances, but when he speaks, he doesn't work that well. And despite how off the walls the action is, as you can clearly see from this poster, he never wears the iconic skull symbol, which has been reappropriated recently by groups of people who don't even understand the Punisher, which is very strange, as it doesn't feel like it would be outplaced in this movie. It's not really a gritty, realistic movie, even though it is pretty violent, but, whatever, I guess they didn't want to do it. Dolph Lundgren's one of those actors who's better as a silent guy, and when he speaks, it doesn't sound that right, but, there's a whole lot of stuff for him to do action-wise, so that works out pretty fine, and when he does it, it's fun. Just buy him at Spring Castle. This is an origin film, so it doesn't go over his origins, though it does briefly mention that he has a family that was gunned down by criminals, so there is that, so it's pretty accurate, and his name is Frank Castle. It doesn't mention his background as a vet. It also says he's a cop, whichever was in the comments. Probably the worst aspect of this film is that Frank had his old cop buddy on the lookout for him because he knows he's the Punisher, or thinks that he's dead. And then some random lady wants to join him for no reason, and it feels like a whole lot of filler. These scenes don't happen a lot, and they're not very good actors, especially the woman. She can't act to save her life.
You were his life before this ever happened, and you've been his life ever since.
She gives that performance the whole movie, and it feels very out of place in this movie that's trying to be an edgy action film, so she sucks. At most, we get the guy crying at the Frank at one scene where he gets arrested by the police. And you think, oh, he's going to go to trial, well, he gets out pretty easily, but that's not the main juxtaposition of the film. So there's a bunch of criminal organizations. There's the Mafia who's being interrogated by the Yakuza, because that's the type of film this is. And the Yakuza's like, join us. Well, not join us, but do shit for us, or we'll kidnap your kids, which they do. And as they're going on in a war trying to get their kids back from Yakuza's trying to do all this stuff. Frank's there to shoot up everybody because he hates criminals. He also wants to save kids, because of course that's the type of person he is, but he will kill everyone else in the way. He gets tortured and we get to see his abs, but he's an edgelord, so he likes the pain. That's the type of movie this is. And I gotta admit, that's pretty much it for the story. Most of it is action sequence to action sequence. The only thing that's, worth noting is the fact that there's this crazy guy who may or may not have been in that Punisher TV show, but he's very different, where he just, gives Punisher information, but he's kind of a bum, so yeah. This movie does go by pretty fast, so that's a good thing. Each scene, everything goes, pretty snappy, so that's pretty nice. Then we're fighting the Yakuza again. It's a crazy film. While there is a bit hard, it's not an R really, but it's kind of like a PG-13 mid-R. So keep that in mind for the actions. There's nothing really extreme here, but there is some good amount of violence if you're into that kind of thing. Overall, this movie is mostly for you if you're really in good mood for a dumb action film, and it does its job pretty well, though there is better options for that regard. They really don't go into the deepness of the Punisher that much, even though it is there and hinted at, but yeah, if you're a Punisher fan, I wouldn't say not watch this film, but it is entertaining. Not to say there's not any deep moments, in fact, the end part is pretty much one of the most memorable scenes in the movie. Well, this movie ain't that great. It does understand the Punisher's character, and I do appreciate it for that. It's not a deep movie, and there's some pretty bad filler with some bad characters here and there, but some fun, dumb action scenes make up for what little it has going for it. If you're a Punisher fan, watch it. If you're in the mood for a dumb action film, watch it. But other than that, you can skip it if you want. Here's the current tier list for all the Marvel movies, and believe it or not, I think we're done with the 1980s, so I'll see you next time when we enter the 1990s, and we'll start ramping up the Marvel film marathon. I'll see you then.